Binge watching the 2025 latest manual adaptation of Congress's Korean drama The Witch episode 1-8 narrative recap. The male lead takes the subway for the first time, but is shocked to discover a girl being harassed by a molester is none other than his high school crush, Park Mi-jin, known as the Witch. You see, any guy who tried to get close to her back then would end up dying mysteriously, like this guy right in front of him, who stubbornly refuses to believe the rumor, insisting on walking her home under his umbrella. But just moments after handing her the umbrella, he gets struck by lightning, becoming the third soul to tragically die. In vain, however, the classmates' hostility towards Mi-jin only makes our protagonist more determined to win her over. But just as he's preparing to make his move, another boy meets an untimely death, and through the grapevine, it's revealed that this boy was a new transfer student who had approached Mi-jin before his death, saying, "It's not your fault my predecessor died. If anything, blame the freak weather.
You should stay away from me."
Seeing how Mi-jin still keeps her distance, the boy finally gives up. But as he's about to ride off on his bike, a nearby transformer suddenly shorts out, and just as the boy approaches, a live wire snaps loose. Sparks fly everywhere. The boy is startled and falls to the ground. Then as the glass shatters around him, he's fatally electrocuted by the fallen wire, becoming the fourth tragic victim. What's different this time though is that Mi-jin witnesses the entire incident, and as the boy's farewell ceremony concludes, she walks straight out of the school gates, leaving campus behind for good. This becomes an indelible regret, etched deep in the male lead's heart. Now fate has brought him face to face with Mi-jin again. He swears not to let her slip away this time. So after Mi-jin gets off the subway, he immediately follows her. But just as he finally gathers the courage to approach her, her figure vanishes from the alley. With no other choice, he tries to track her down using the subway harassment video, hoping to find some clue about Mi-jin. When suddenly, a message catches his eye. A creep confesses his love on the subway and dies after being rejected. He immediately opens the related video. Turns out after he followed Mi-jin off the man suddenly clutched his chest and collapsed. Even though someone immediately performed CPR, they still couldn't save him. This news made the male lead's hair stand on end. If he still held a sliver of hope before, now he dares not cross the line anymore. Feeling depressed, he calls his childhood friend, who is now a detective, venting about why some people just have to watch and the game is sure to be lost. Some just have to open their phone and the time is always 4:44. Others just have to queue at a famous store and the ingredients sell out right in front of them. Could there really be some inexplicable force?
Is it Murphy's Law or Sally's Law?
Yes, it is Murphy's Law.
This question makes his friend scoff. Not just because his friend's job is a detective, but more because it comes from the male lead. Because whether in school or at work, the male lead was a firm believer in statistics, thinking everything could be predicted through stats. What we now call big data analysis. He could even just by studying gamblers' behavior accurately pinpoint who would become regulars. And his theories even won the appreciation of the casino king. Yet now he is asking such an abnormal question. But with his friend's reminder, the male lead finally finds a new direction. Help her Mi-jin find the law. Maybe it can free her from being the witch.
Bro, you believe there are witches in the world.
The reason Mi-jin is a witch is finally found. Turns out back when she was little, any boy who liked her, whether trying to please or playing pranks, as long as they said one word to her, an accident would happen. But as long as they didn't say that, these accidents weren't fatal. Like this boy specifically, on White Valentine's Day, gave a full basket of lollipops, but too shy to express himself, rode off quickly after delivering them. Then with the sound of brakes screeching, the boy only broke his leg, which was a stroke of luck in a misfortune. But because these were just ordinary accidents, Mi-jin still refused to admit it was all because of her. Until she reached the age of first love, she developed a crush on a boy named Izong, who happened to like her back. Even in front of the study room, she received her first confession.
I like you.
But right after those words were spoken, the boy suddenly felt choked up. He tried to hold on, but the next second,
Brother! Izong!
Yet faced with everyone's strange looks, Mi-jin out of self-preservation lied that he was stung by a hornet, ultimately causing the boy to die unjustly before even reaching the hospital. That is right, the deadly curse was "I like you." After this incident, Mi-jin became even more cautious, hardly speaking to any male classmates. But fate is unpredictable. That day a boy insisted on holding an umbrella for her. After walking her home, he suddenly started confessing.
I like you.
This made Mi-jin's hair stand on end. Just then a bus suddenly approached. Seeing the boy was unharmed, Mi-jin felt a sense of relief, mistakenly thinking the curse wasn't real. But as they went their separate ways, a huge thunderbolt suddenly struck, followed by the boy's scream. At the boy's farewell ceremony, Mi-jin cried bitterly, not only filled with guilt over his misfortune, but also weight over her own unfair fate. Soon summer turned to winter. During this time, accidents kept happening to boys at school, coincidentally all from her class. And all had spoken to her. Rumors spread that she was a witch. Soon everyone in school knew. Almost all boys avoided her, and not even dared to exchange a single word with her. But this transfer student just wouldn't believe the superstition. He even took advantage of Mi-jin's inattention to suddenly confess.
I like you.
Hearing this, Mi-jin closed her eyes in despair. Just then the transformer started leaking electricity. Crow suddenly took flight, startled, although Mi-jin had noticed something unusual beforehand. But everything happened too fast. She also wanted to know if it was all just coincidence. And precisely during those few seconds, she hesitated. Wires suddenly came crashing down from above. After scaring the boy to the ground, Mi-jin could only shut her eyes tightly in hopelessness. When she opened them again, the boy had become the fourth unfortunate victim. This completely shattered the last bit of hope she held onto. After leaving school, she basically stayed in bed every day, never stepping foot outside. Even though her father wanted to comfort her, he didn't know where to begin. Until one day her father suddenly announced he would take her to Living Soul, That is when a smile finally reappeared on her face. But fate didn't seem ready to let her go. Not just because it was her first time doing farm work, but also because they were moving to Seoul tomorrow. Just as she was about to deliver the potatoes, a venomous snake suddenly appeared and bit her right on the ankle.
Meijin!
Soon she lost consciousness in her father's arm. When she woke up again, she was still in the field. The wound had clearly been treated, and her father was the one who did it. But now her father had succumbed to the venom. After seeing his daughter was safe, he finally passed away. From then on, Meijin was truly all alone. After burying her father, the village had no place for her anymore. Her only choice was to leave for distant lands. End of episode 2. Finally figured out the witch's pattern. Those guys who like her. Once these 4 conditions are met, they're definitely gonna die accidentally. First one, stay away from her within 10 meters. Because Dongzhen discovered during his visit, almost all the boys who had accidents were from Meijin's class too. Except for this street dance team leader. He was not only a grade above Meijin, his classroom was right above Meijin's class. But when Dongzhen found the boys' class, he was shocked to discover the dance leader's seat was directly above meaning Meijin. 10 meters isn't just horizontal distance, it includes vertical distance too. Second rule, having a face-to-face conversation with her. And Dongzhen could figure out this pattern thanks to Meijin's only friend the Xu Yingxi. Turns out though Meijin didn't finish high school, she self-studied and got into university. And Yingxi, as the welcoming senior, witnessed a guy using borrowing a pen as an excuse, trying to hit on Meijin. But luckily, Meijin didn't say a word back the whole time. So even though the guy was within 10 meters, he didn't have any accident after the welcome event. But this made the guy even more persistent. Right after the open class ended, he tried to strike up a conversation, and this time Meijin replied more than once, resulting in him suddenly falling down the stairs, spraining his ankle, hospitalized for over half a month. So the second rule means Meijin responded face to face. Third rule, confessing love to her. This one anyone who saw last episode knows. Any guy brave enough to confess to her either gets struck by lightning or electrocuted. Even during Meijin's university days, there was this clueless professor who once wrote down that he liked her on paper.
Professor.
Though eventually, because Meijin panicked and ran away, the confession wasn't fully written. But Meijin immediately called emergency, hoping they'd arrive before anything happened. Maybe even save the professor's life. But anyone would think this was a prank. So the call ended with a warning. And as Meijin tried to quickly get away, she happened to be stopped by Anshi, plus that persistent professor still lurking. By sitting on the windowsill, he narrowed the distance between him and Meijin. In the very next moment, you have to admire the director's skill here. With just one scene coming up, the personalities of both Meijin and Yingxi are instantly brought to life.
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
No! You can't look!
It is because of me again.
It is not because of you. It was just an accident. Don't worry, Meijin.
But after this incident, the rumor that Meijin is a witch spreads across the campus once more, and she has no choice but to drop out of school again. Fortunately, Anshi never left her side. With her help, Meijin not only rents an apartment with a rooftop, but also starts taking on translation jobs online, gaining the ability to survive. At the same time, to live a little freer, she sneaks out late at night when everyone's asleep to watch movies at the nearest theater, even though it feels like she's renting out the whole place. It's where she meets the late night ticket, the same guy who confessed his feelings on the subway, and he becomes the only person who fulfills all 3 rules and still manages to stay alive. That's right, the initial reports were wrong. The man was eventually saved, and the reason he escaped the witch's curse. It all comes down to the most critical 4th rule. This is the key rule that defines how the witch harms others. Knowing the person's real name. Take this drunk guy in front of her now. Not only was he within 10 meters of the witch, but they even talked multiple times. And he even fulfilled the 3rd rule by confessing to her. Yet unlike her previous victims, he didn't die. He spent only half a month in the hospital. Why? Because as a ticket checker, he wore a name tag with a nickname, so Meijin never knew his real name. Upon hearing this, Dongzhen suddenly gets excited because during their school days, he and Meijin never exchanged a single word. So he naively believes Meijin will never know his name. So not only did he start moving that day, also moved into a house facing Meijin's family, but for the sake of caution, that night he stealthily stretched the meter ruler to the opposite side. The results of a measurement done. The distance has exceeded the meter, which means as long as Meijin stays inside, the distance between the 3 people will definitely exceed 10 meters. But just when he wanted to take the meter back, but suddenly found that the buckle lost its roll. Just then Meijin came out. There's no time to think about him, directly pulling back manually. This was only 1 second before Meijin set foot on the balcony. Retract the meter ruler successfully. At the same time, fortunately, Meijin's direction, right away from his direction. This let Dongzhu instantly relax, and Meijin's dreamlike shadow in the snow also let Dongzhu instantly indulge. Even if Meijin has turned around, he also has no idea. I don't know how long time has passed until a snapping sound woke him up. There is no doubt this is what happens when he only touches the 1st rule. But at the same time, it made Dongzhu realize the 10M rule has a time limit. After all, the 2 were not just 10 meters away from the accident. In order to confirm this time note, he made a bolder decision.
I am going to experiment this time.
For this reason, he went directly to Xiaoming supermarket, apply for a takeaway delivery man. Because according to his observation, every Tuesday this supermarket delivers daily necessities to Meijin. And the delivery man's helmet. Not only can he hide his identity, more effective in reducing accidental injuries, but when he got to the iron door that led to the attic, need to press the timer immediately, because the stairs up are less than 10 meters. So the waiting time is also counted. And as Meijin opens the iron gate, it was the first time he was so close to each other. The company also said the first sentence between the 2.
Wait for me.
What?
It is clear that East Town has begun to be incoherent. Even in order to increase the time together, he even offered to help move the goods. Then under Meijin's puzzled look, he insisted on checking the item details, finally stretching the time to over 5 minutes. He finally took out the delivery slip for her as he rushed back downstairs. The time was exactly 8 minutes and 22 seconds, and he encountered no accidents in the following days. This instantly made the Dongzhen bold. Later he started testing the time at the iron door late at night, directly coming to the iron door to test the time. Whether staying for 9 minutes 38 seconds or 9 minutes 50 seconds, he encountered no accidents until the time reached 10 minutes and 13 seconds. He had just walked back to the 4th floor. The motion sensor light above suddenly made an electric button. This instantly made his hair stand on end. After all, he knew the previous victims died in ways almost all related to electricity. Without thinking, he rushed downstairs quickly. Then the next second, thankfully, he always insisted on wearing a helmet, so only his right foot was sprained. But this helped him find the time limit. 10 minutes. Never stay within 10 meters of her for over 10 minutes. So next time he delivered, to maximize their time together, he deliberately had Meijin help with checking. Then through their back and forth conversation, he managed to stretch the time close to the limit. But just as he was about to collect payment, Meijin suddenly handed over a bank card.
Card? Oh, cash.
Turns out Meijin had noted to pay by card, but Dongzhen forgot to bring the card. Reader, he could have used the excuse to fetch the machine to reset the time. But Meijin didn't want to trouble him, insisting on going back to get cash. Thankfully, this only took over a minute. Dongzhen just had to speed up going downstairs. The time didn't exceed 10 minutes. But just as Dongzhen breathed a sigh of relief, the next second, the rule still held. A strange noise suddenly came from above. When he looked up, Dongzhen in the hospital bed was utterly confused. But through Fanfu reviewing yesterday's meeting record, he finally found a reason.
Is it the number of conversations?
To test his theory, he first went to the helmet shop, directly bought a full set of armor, then wore the armor under his coat. Instantly felt super secure. Then he tried to speak as little as possible. Finally kept Meijin's responses to 8 sentences. But just as he was about to make a clean escape, Meijin suddenly asked,
How did you hurt your hand?
The 9th sentence.
Clearly Meijin was worried someone got hurt because of her. So when she asked the 10th question about if it happened nearby, Dongzhen immediately lied and said he got hurt playing soccer. Hearing that, Meijin immediately relaxed. But she replied with the 11th sentence.
Thank goodness.
As if he already guessed the count was exceeded, Dongzhen became extra cautious. He carefully watched the sky, watched the passing cars, but forgot to watch the ground. So as soon as he turned the corner, this time he was seriously hurt, but it helped him figure out the conversation count. Completing the second rule, more than 10 sentences of conversation is dangerous. But luckily the armor protected. This time he only sprained his neck. Didn't miss the 20th of the month, because every month on this day, it is Meijin's travel day. Taking an extra long bus ride, going to the end, and then coming back. This is the travel Meijin always insists on. And from Dongzhen's estimation, as long as he sat in the last row, their distance would be over 10 meters. And it turned out just as he expected. Nothing happened, even when the bus returned. But then an elderly person appeared. Meijin not only gave up her seat, but also went straight to the back door, instantly shortening their distance to less than 5 meters.
It is okay. I'll get off at the next stop.
Clearly Dongzhen was being too optimistic, because it was exactly rush hour. Soon the bus was stuck on the bridge, unable to move. Time has already passed the 8-minute mark, yet the traffic hasn't moved an inch. Suddenly lightning starts cracking across the sky. Dongzhen senses something terrible is about to happen. But what terrifies him even more is the truck loaded with steel pipes right beside him. No matter how the traffic flows, the pipe truck sticks to him like a shadow. Seeing those sharp steel pipes, Dongzhu can already picture his own fate.
Accidents chase their targets. Is that so?
Now past the 9-minute mark, he no longer cares about being exposed. He dashes to the other side of the bus, planning to escape through the window. But the confused passengers nearby start desperately blocking his way, even after he manages to jump out. As he gets up from the ground, exactly 10 minutes have passed. Clearly it is too late to run now. Just then, a gust of wind blows, knocking off his hat, revealing his face to everyone on the bus, including Meijin of course. Just as he is relieved she doesn't know him, Meijin suddenly opens the window. Dongjin never imagined the first time his crush says his name would be so terrifying, if he still had any hope before. Now he is definitely going to get badly hurt. Watching the fierce lightning in the distance, he suddenly makes a bold decision. That is right. Compared to being struck by lightning, he'd rather take the risk. Maybe he can save his own life and spare Meijin from blame. Seeing this, Meijin immediately guesses his plan.
No, please. Oh, Jin, don't do it.
The witch suddenly calls out a name.
Dongjin?
Hearing this, Dongjin's hair stands on end, because any boy whose name the witch knows gets struck by lightning or electrocuted, and it just happens to be a thunderstorm, then he won't die but will suffer a lot. But as a statistics nerd, he knew the probability of being struck by lightning on the bridge would definitely be higher than under the bridge. So amid the screams of everyone in the car, he jumped right off the bridge And just as he fell into the water, a bolt of lightning suddenly struck the street light. Clearly because it lost its target, the lightning took out its anger on the street light. Soon Dongjin was rescued from the water, and Meijin, who witnessed everything on the bridge, also through her memories, began to recount how she learned Dongjin's name. It turned out at the funeral of the classmate struck by lightning, she had felt a pair of intense eyes staring. Following the gaze back, she happened to see this boy named Dongjin. Later, while eating on the playground, the familiar gaze often came again, so she guessed it was from Dongjin. And Dongjin, after seeing her always blocking the sun, begged his mom to donate a sun umbrella. But what he didn't know was, inside the sun umbrella, there were words saying donated by Li Dongjin. This made Meijin every time she ate, read the name Li Dongjin once, completely deepening her impression of him. But because the distance was too far, she never saw Dongjin's real face until after she dropped out. A female classmate gave her a graduation yearbook. She saw Dongjin's appearance for the first time.
Li Dongjin.
Now after 10 years, Dongjin suddenly is so close to her, instantly making her a bit creeped out. And Dongjin lying in the hospital. Bad guessed this too. So he called Meijin's friend, Yungbei, asking her to do him a favor.
People who like Meijin get hurt or die. Then what happens to people Meijin likes?
Without a doubt, just because Meijin suddenly knew his name, he suspected Meijin had a crush on him. So he wanted Yungbei to help confirm. But the result once again proved, guys shouldn't be too narcissistic, because Meijin only liked one boy her whole life. A guy named Li Zong. The one who, after confessing, suddenly collapsed foaming at the mouth. But after learning this, Dongjin leaped up from his hospital bed, because when visiting all the victims, he had seen this guy named Li Zong, meaning he violated the witch's 4 rules, but didn't die on the spot. So there is only one possibility.
Did you really like Park Meijin?
Yes. The premise of those 4 deadly rules is that the guy must like Meijin. But Hizong said with a displeased face. Back then, he was still immature. How could he confess to someone he didn't like? What shocked Dongjin even more, his foaming at the mouth had nothing to do with Meijin, because he has had epilepsy since childhood. That day he just forgot to take his medicine. Hearing this, Dongjin's world completely collapsed. So the way to break the witch's curse was actually this simple.
Only someone she loves can break the curse.
So if he wants to win the witch's heart, there is only one way.
Make her fall in love with me.
But Dongjin isn't stupid enough to think that confessing will make her love him. So he needs a plan. A plan to make the witch fall in love with him. First he took down all the photos on the wall, threw away all the useless books, only kept the books Meijin translated, even to make sure others would notice. He deliberately put bookmarks at the translator's section, then started exercising more, changed his Tuifei image completely. Finally first sent his detective friend a message saying he is gone to find her, then sent Meijin's friend Enshi a long emotional text, basically saying if anything happens to him, please keep taking care of Meijin. After doing all this, he used a marker on the glass where he could see Meijin, wrote light you up in English, then dragged his suitcase. Without hesitation, he stepped into Meijin's apartment building hallway, rang her doorbell.
Miss Park Meijin, I'm the delivery guy from Xiaoming Supermarket.
Scene shifts, the two appear on the balcony. But from how they're standing you can tell, Meijin is really wary of Dongjin. So when Dongjin says he has something to talk about, she totally ignores him. Instead asks why has a delivery guy now, why he was on the bus that day. Which means before Dongjin can say what he wants, she's already fired off 5 sentences. No choice. Dongjin pulls a box from his pocket, says it's a gift from their classmates, finally cutting off Meijin's questions, but has not confessing now. Cause today's goal is just to get her to lower her guard. But just as Meijin's hit 10 sentences, has about to bail. Can't stand seeing her blame herself, so he adds a few more words.
Go do what you want to do. It's not your fault.
And those 2 lines exactly make Meijin mutter her 11th sentence.
Dongjin.
So even though Dongjin rushes downstairs, sees there is still under 10 minutes left. The moment has out, he spots danger signs everywhere. Cars speeding back and forth, a maintenance hole under repair, transformers sparking and crackling. Everything gives him a bad feeling. Even though he tries to avoid these hazards, he doesn't notice the truck coming up behind him. But as the truck blares its horn, his face in the headlights shows zero fear. His calm expression is almost scary, and the episode just cuts off right here.